we're going to start a new topic today, that is the impression materials in prosthodontics. First, we are going to see why there is a need for an impression. Okay. In all in dentistry, whether it's, in suppose main specific to the pertaining to the prosthodontics, although whether we fabricate a denture, or whether we fabricate RPD, or whether we fabricate FPD, for all this process we need a cast. We directly can't make our denture directly in patient's mouth. We have to make it on the cast, then we adjust it in the patient's mouth. Okay. To make a cast, we need an impression. Okay. That's why for every step, the first step is to make an impression. Okay. And to making this impression, there are n number of materials used in dentistry. So which material, where to use, we are going to see this in this topic. The properties of the material, uh, each material, the property gets changed whether depending on the weather, whether it is cold or hot, the properties get changed. So depending on that, we have to adjust our manufacturing, and we have to work it. So that all things we are going to see in this lecture. So basically, in general, impression is a mark produced on the surface by pressure. Any mark that is produced on a surface is known as impression. Whether you go on a beach, you place your sand or hand on your sand, an impression gets on that part. So any mark that is produced on the surface is known as impression. So what do you mean by dental impression? It is a negative likeness or copy in reverse of a surface of an object and imprint of teeth and adjacent structure for use in dentistry. Okay, so this is little bit complicated. We will cut this definition to small pieces and I will explain it to you. Okay, so it is a negative likeness or copy in reverse. This means negative likeliness and or copy in reverse means suppose there is an elevation in the patient's mouth, then there will be a depression in your impression. Okay, suppose I have taken the impression of dentulous mouth. So we, as in the slide you can see there is an indentation produced by of a teeth. Okay, so it is a negative likeliness. It will be same but in a negative way. Okay, of a surface of an object. Okay, an imprint of a teeth, and as this in these cases this is an impression of edentulous arches. This is the impression of dentulous arches. Edentulous arches means the patient is having no teeth. Edentulous, and dentulous means patient is having one or more teeth. Okay, so an imprint of teeth and adjacent structures means this suppose this rugae part and this sulcus part, these are all the adjacent structures for using dentistry. For anyhow in every exam or in every viva, this is a basic question they ask, like define impression, whether it will be in viva or whether it will be in short SAQ questions. Okay, like in LQ also, they start with the define impression as the impression materials. Okay, so everyone has to know this impression, this definition. Like it is a negative likeliness or copy in reverse of a subject of an object, of a surface and of an object, or an imprint of teeth and adjacent structures for use in dentistry. Okay. Impression materials. What do you mean by impression materials? Any substance or combination of substances used for making an impression or negative impression. Any substances that is used for making an impression is known as materials. Okay. Then cast. as you all have seen your first year, these are the edentulous casts. Okay, cast is what? It is a life-size likeliness of a desired form in a form within or in a material code in a matrix or impression. Okay, it is a impression what? It is a negative likeness, whereas cast is a positive likeness. Okay, it's a life-size likeliness means as that is present in patient's mouth, the same dimension we are going to get it on the cast. That's why it's known as life-size likeness. It can be poured into matrix or in the impression. Okay, so impression is negative likeness, whereas the cast is a positive likeness. Then die. Die is nothing but the positive reproduction of a form of puppet in any suitable substance. See, this is the cast. This is the dentulous cast. Okay, and this one hmm, I can remove it. So it is known as die. Die is what? It is a positive reproduction of single prepared tooth in any material, whether I pour it in plaster or stone or die stone. Okay, in any material. Then this is known as die. Impression of hole is known as cast. Impression of single tooth or the positive impression of single tooth is known as die. Okay. Now basic classification of all impression materials. Now see this also the most common question asked in the exam. Define impression materials, classify impression materials, and they will ask any one of the material as a LAQ or as a SAQ is asked, it will ask like define impression and classify impression. Okay, this one is, and the second classification is this one. So we are going to see both the classification. If not, you want to take a screenshot or you want to take it, write it down, please take it. This is not present in any book. Okay. So impression materials, there are broadly classified into two types. One is non-elastic, one is elastic. As simple, the material after set, if it has elastic property, it is known as elastic impression materials. And the materials after setting become rigid or it has become stiff. It's known as non-elastic impression materials. Okay, impression materials two types. One is elastic, one is non-elastic. Okay. Now, what are the non-elastic impression materials? First one is impression compound. Second is zinc oxide eugenol impression paste. Third is impression plaster. Fourth is waxes, impression waxes. Okay. Impression materials two types: non-elastic, elastic. In non-elastic, we have impression compound, zinc oxide original impression paste, then we have impression plaster, fourth is impression waxes. Okay. Now same in elastic, we have two types of elastic materials are there. One is known as rubber base. Rubber base means you have seen all have seen the eraser or rubber. Okay. The basic composition of this material is a rubber. Okay, that's why it is known as rubber base, and second it is hydrocolloid. Okay, hydro already know as a hydro means water, and colloid means it is a type of colloidal solution. So in rubber, in elastic we have two types: rubber base and hydrocolloids. In rubber base we have polysulfide, polyether, and in silicones. Silicones we have addition silicon and condensation silicon. Okay, in hydrocolloids we have alginate and agar. Okay, all of you getting? Impression material two types: rigid, non-rigid, or non-elastic, elastic. The material it after set, if it remains rigid or if it remains stiff, it is known as non-elastic impression materials. And materials which are elastic even after set, it is known as elastic impression materials. Non-elastic impression materials we have impression compound, zinc oxide aluminum impression paste, impression plastering, and waxes. Whereas in elastic we have rubber base and hydrocolloids. Hydrocolloids we have agar and alginate. This rubber base we have polysulfide, polyether, additional silicone, and conditional silicone. Okay. Now classification. This is another classification. This is based on the mechanical properties. Like we have previously seen the rigid and elastic. The same classification is there. One is rigid. आवाज येत नाही. आवाज चाललाय.
सर स्टुडंट लय कमी आहेत.
कोणीच 88 पाहिजे. त्याच्यामुळे चांगलं होतं.
Yes, sir.
See, now, as I said, impression material classification rigid or inelastic and elastic. In this, now there are again two classifications based on the chemical reaction and based on the temperature change. Based on chemical reaction means if the material sets by forming an any chemical reaction. Okay, if two chemical mix to form another chemical. Okay, that's why it is known as irreversible. In chemical reaction, the material whatever we form, it cannot go into its your previous stage. That's why it is known as irreversible. So in rigid, we have plaster of Paris or gypsum product and zinc oxide ethanol. Okay, whenever you mix, you all know, you all mix the interstone. We pour out water, we put the plaster on it. The chemical reaction starts, and after some time it gets set. But it is an irreversible type of reaction. You can't separate your plaster from water. Okay, that's why all the chemical reactions are irreversible, whereas there are certain materials which sets by change in temperature. If we put impression like your waxes, your all work on your waxes. What we do, we apply heat on to the waxes, it gets softened. When it gets cooled, it gets hardens. Okay, there are no. That's why it's known as reversible type of reactions. So in rigid, we have plaster of Paris and zinc oxide ethanol in a chemical reaction that is irreversible. Same thing when we go for rigid type, uh, which sets by temperature, we have impression compound and impression waxes. Then, except agar, all materials sets elastic, all materials sets by a changing, which sets by a chemical reaction. Only agar is an elastic material that sets by the change in temperature. Okay, if we heat the agar, it becomes liquid. When we cool it, it will become again solid. Okay, so in total we have in rigid 4 materials. That is, in that 2 are sets by chemical reaction, whereas 2 sets by temperature change. Okay. Now, what are the requirements of your impression materials? The first most requirement is they should be fluid enough to adapt to the oral tissues. Is whenever we pour your impression material on a impression tray and we put that impression mode, it will be able to flow to all the surfaces in patient's mouth. Then only if it is flowable, then only it will be able to record the impression. Okay. They should be viscous enough to contain in a tray that is seated in the mold. As it first said, it should be fluid enough, but it should also viscous enough so that it should be remain in a tray. Okay, fluid चाहिए मतलब uh, it should not be like a watery. It should be like a gelatinous type of. So then we can put that impression material in on a tray. We can put that tray into the patient's mouth. Okay. While in mouth, it should transfer to rubbery or a rigid solid in reasonable amount of time. In mouth, the impression material should set within 7 minutes. Okay, it's not like if you place the tray in a patient's mouth and keep it for us for 15 minutes, it's not possible. So it should set within 7 minutes of time. Okay, the material should be biocompatible, that is not toxic, not irritant to the other tissues. Now this property biocompatible means ये ये प्रॉपर्टी कोई भी मटेरियल डेंटिस्ट्री में अगर यूज होते हैं, any material, if they ask in example, write the requirements, this property should come first, or write this property for all the materials, even for conservative. Any material that we used in the dentistry, it should be biocompatible. Means this material should not cause any harm to the patient, or any harm should not release any toxic or irritant solutions in the patient's oral cavity. Okay, all materials should be biocompatible. It should have pleasant odor, taste, and acceptable color. Okay, pleasant odor. Now, what we do, we mix up any material, we put in on tray. If it has a bad odor, then patient will not allow us to put that tray into the patient mouth. Okay, so it should have pleasant odor, pleasant taste. If it is a sore, then patient will not tell us patient will not allow us to keep that tray into patient's mouth. Okay, and then it should be acceptable color. The impression set impression should not distort or tear when removed from the mouth. Now, till now, what are these all properties before putting into the mouth? Now, after it gets sets into the patient's mouth, while removing from the mouth, it should not tear or it should not distort. When a patient think the premolar tear or after distortion it becomes molar, so it is not used for us. The same impression what we made during setting, same impression should be removed from the mouth with a single jerk. Okay. The second and third cast should be made from the same impression. Now, uh, we, now I have made the impression. I have poured the cast. If I want to make again two cast, the impression material should have that much amount of strength that I can re-pour it for 2 to 3 times. Okay. The requirement is first is it should be fluid enough. Second, it should be viscous enough to contain in a tray. Third, it should be set within 7 minutes of time from fluid to rubbery or rigid. Okay. And fourth, it should be biocompatible. Biocompatibility means it should not cause any toxic or any irritant to the effect with the oral tissues. It should be have pleasant odor, taste, and color. The set impression should not distort or tear while removed from the mouth. And the last is the second and third cast can be put from the same impression. Okay. The impression made from the material should be dimension stable until the cast can be poured. Means when I remove the impression from patient's mouth, it should be dimensionally stable. Dimensionally stable means the what are the dimension what are we recorded in the patient's mouth, it should be remain as safe till the we pour the cast with any material, like if I am to pour it with dental plaster or if I am to pour it with the dental stone, the dimensions of your impression material should not be changed over the period of time. Okay, so it should a next is accurate reproduction of details. Now, any impression what we made from patient one, it should record a fine tissue details. Okay, the uh, the teeth part, the cingulum part, the rugae part, or any the fuga palatini. There are minute fuga palatini. So it should also record the fine minute details of the oral tissues, and also it should be digestible. It should recording is okay. It should also remain as we record in precious one for over the period of time. Okay. It should have adequate shelf life for storage and distribution. Okay. Suppose I have purchased an impression material and I have keep in my cupboard. It should be remain at least for 2 years. It should have sorry, shelf life. Okay. It should be easy to use with the minimum equipments. Come से कम like your dental plaster. We need only uh, bowl and spatula to mix. So minimum requirements, minimum equipment should be used. Should be compatible with the cast and dies. It should be disinfected. Okay, and it should be economical. Fluidity of should fluidity is required for the reproduction of details. Second is viscous. It should be contained in a tray. It should set within 7 minutes in patient's oral mouth, oral cavity. Then it should be biocompatible. It should have decent odor, taste, and color. It should set or it should set distort, but it should not distort or tear while removing from the mouth. Okay. Second and third cast on units from the same patient. Dimensional stability should maintain its dimensional accuracy. It should record the minor tissue details. Then it should have adequate storage period. So then I can use for n number of patients the same materials. Should be used with minimum equipments. Okay. It should be compatible with any material which we pour. It should be disinfected and it should be economical. Okay. The first the first material what we are going to see is the impression compound. Okay. Next, I have shown you this impression compound for your batch. Have you seen this? Okay. The red color disc-like material I have shown you. It is known as impression compound. Okay. So impression compound is what? It is a rigid thermoplastic reversible type of impression material, also known as molding compound. See, in classification, we have seen impression compound in a non-elastic part. Okay, non-elastic means rigid. Thermoplastic. Thermoplastic means it is a plastic-like material which change its when the temperature changes, its property gets changed. Okay, that's why it's known as thermal plastic material, which is reversible type of means if I put this impression compound in a hot water, it softens. Again, I if I put that same thing in a cold water, it gets sets. So that's why it is known as reversible type of impression material. It is reversible, it is rigid, and it is thermoplastic. Okay. Now, what are the uses of impression materials? For preliminary impression of dentulous mouth. Then second is bottom molding, the impression of single tooth, and preparation of special tray for microfacial processes. Okay. Now impressions, as we during the demonstration I have shown you that the various steps of denture fabrication. The first step of is for denture fabrication is making a preliminary impression. For that preliminary impression, we use this impression component. Okay. Then bottom molding. The second step of denture fabrication is bottom molding and final impression. Okay. So there in bottom molding, we use this stick form of impression component. Okay. So mode of supply is how we can purchase in market, like we get it this in a cake form or this in a stick form. You can also get it in the form of cones and cylinders. Okay, composition. These all things are available in the book, even though we want to see. So ingredients, it has a waxes, thermoplastic resin, filler, and plasticizers, and some color ingredients. The function of waxes is soften on heating. Any wax, the impression compound also, when we put it in a hot water, it gets softens. Okay? Thermoplastic resin material are resin during response for transition from solid to liquid state. Filler, the function of fillers is to increase the viscosity, increase the rigidity, and also reduce the addition of softening material within oral tissues. Plasticizers and coloring agents. This part you can read it from the textbook. Okay. Now we are seeing the classification of impression materials. Okay, rigid and non-rigid, or elastic and non-elastic. Now we are going to see the classification of impression compound. Okay. Now we have two types of impression compound. It is not type 1 impression compound and type 2 tray compound. Okay. Type 1 impression compound, type 2 is tray compound. Type 1 is used for impression making. That's why it is known as impression compound. Whereas type 2 is used for fabrication of a tray. That's why it is known as tray compound. Okay, impression compound. Now, suppose I use the uh, for impression making. The what are the requirements? It should be flowable. Okay, the the temperature at which it gets flowable is at 37 degrees centigrade. Its flow only 6%. But as we raise the temperature, like we go for 45 degrees centigrade, this flow also increases to 85%. Okay. Now this change, that's why we made this impression compound in a water bath of containing 45 degrees centigrade of temperature of water. It gets softened and we get we make an impression. Okay. Now for same for type 2 tray compound, we tray compound is at 37 degrees temperature, its flow is 2%, whereas 45 degrees centigrade, its flow is 75 to 85%. The other property manipulation part we can see on